got all this information and all these ideas, but how do you get started in that first week? Well, one of the keys is before you even start reaching out to students that you establish a workspace, a schedule, and norms. These are the kind of things that we tell kids all the time, but sometimes we forget to tell them to ourselves. I recommend when you establish a workspace that you find a space in your home where you can work consistently. Ideally, you want a place where you can shut out distractions and disruptions. I recommend, especially if you're using your camera, that you have it facing a wall so that you don't have to worry about the distractions and disruptions that might show up behind you. If your camera were, say, facing your room, so by facing a wall, it shuts out all the foolishness, or at least some of it, from your family. Another option is providing, if you can work in a room with a door that closes. That's a luxury that some folks have. The other thing is to gather your materials and keep them nearby. I also keep a box so that at the end of the day I can put all of my materials into that box, close it, and put work away. It's really challenging to be working in your home environment where it feels like you never really leave. Establish a schedule for yourself. You want it to be as consistent as possible. Again, we tell the kids this and we forget to do it ourselves. Make sure that your schedule includes time to read and respond to emails. You're going to review student work and give feedback, and also time to communicate with colleagues, as well as scheduling in those live Zoom sessions. You should also schedule time for yourself, making sure that you have breaks for physical movement throughout the day, that you're eating and sleeping, all those things. And of course, time for family. Additionally, you'll want to establish norms for yourself. Just set up your own expectations. Realistically, how much time can you spend reviewing assignments? What is a manageable amount of feedback? Consider your workload and the other demands on your time, and set expectations for yourself that will not overburden yourself during this time that is very stressful. Here's a sample weekly lesson. I know it's a lot, but the basic idea is that you've got a couple days of Zoom sessions, some staff meetings, some interaction with people. I'll share this out with you so you can see what I have in mind. Mostly, just keep in mind that you are a learner. Embrace that growth mindset that you share with your kids. Embrace it for yourself. The first couple weeks might be rocky, but we'll get better. You're going to learn. We'll get there, okay? As you're working with your kids, some things to think about are establishing norms. Let students and families know exactly what they can expect from you. How often will they hear from you? How are you going to be communicating with them? And then also make sure that they understand what you expect from them. What formats do you want work turned in on? How do they submit that? They're going to need trainings in all these tools just as you will. How do you want them to communicate their questions to you? And how often do you expect to be hearing from them? Again, the more clear and upfront you are with your students, the easier it will be in the future. Online behavior in particular needs norms established. This is almost like that first week of school where you're really building that positive classroom environment. You're shifting everything, and you're shifting not just to online learning, but you're shifting to the tool that often your students use for entertainment and not necessarily school appropriate interaction with peers. And so you need to really reframe how they interact on a computer. And so it's going to take some training and some clarity. So make sure you take time to talk about your expectations long before any problems arise. Use the tools that are built into the technology to manage disruptions. So again, when you use Zoom, go into that training, look at those settings. You're going to be able to turn microphones on and off, not just to silence a kid, but really to silence the whole room and to allow a single voice at a time. You can turn cameras off to minimize distraction. There are lots of settings that you can use. Also, we will make a training video. You can require students to watch the training video before they jump into a Zoom session. One thing I do want to point out is that there's a feature within Zoom where you can turn off their mic, turn off their camera, and turn off their ability to chat, but students can still be in there and be part of the lesson, but not be able to say anything. So that's a way that they can still be hearing the interaction, and then they're still part of your class as opposed to just pushing them outside and excluding them from the class. So there are levels of response. We'll also share with you some emergency shortcut tools if things just go awry. There are a few key elements, key things you can do depending on the situation. And again, that's all part of the Zoom training. As in a classroom, address any problem behavior immediately. Review those norms and etiquette often, and utilize those tools to control any kind of disruption. If there's any kind of egregious behavioral issues, inappropriate material is shared, inappropriate language, that's when you get to consult your administrator. Thank you so much for going through this training. Just to let you know, there's a short version for students and parents as well to get us all on the same page. Thank you so much for participating in this. Good luck.